Hello, Tekwan. My name is Lawaishan, and I'm the leader for Group 10. And me and my members, they are Aiman, Haikal, and Ruman Hakim. And we'd like to present our finance assignment report. And next, I'll pass to Aiman for introduction part.
Hello, Dr. Kwan. My name is Muhammad Aiman bin Muhammad Sufyan. My ID number is 1221303 and I want to talk about our company. So, the executive summary for Nestle is a health, nutrition, and wellness firm that supplies and that produce ready dishes and cooking aids, pharmaceutical and automatic goods, meat-based products, cereal, and baby foods. Nestle is one of the leading corporations in the world. It has been working for a long time in Malaysia and is one of the leading brands. Nestle Malaysia is providing halal food to more than 40 Muslim countries. And for the introduction of Nestle, predecessor of Nestle was founded in 1866. Today, Nestle Malaysia operates 6 factories and employs more than 5,000 employees nationwide, producing over 500 halal certified products. Many of our key brands have now become a part of nation household for generation. The key rationales behind Nestle present in Malaysia strategic location. Nestle has access to a larger regional market thanks to Malaysian strategic location in South Asia. It also provides logistical benefits for distribution to neighbors countries. Why we choose Nestle is because of the market leader in Malaysia. Nestle Malaysia is the country's largest food and beverage corporation. We can learn about successful market strategies, brand management, customer engagement, and competitive advantage in Malaysia by studying a market leader. So for the company overview, a little bit brief of introduction. Nestle Bahar, also known as Nestle Malaysia, is a subsidiary of Nestle SA, a multinational food and beverage company headquartered in Switzerland. So, for the industry overview, technological investment. Technology is important in the food beverage business, from the production to distribution and marketing. Companies such as Nestle frequently use technology to drive innovation, quality control, and consumer interaction. In the sphere of operation, technology has played an instrumental role in optimizing efficiency and precision. And for the positioning, Nestle is a global brand recognition. Nestle is well-known and trusted brand around the world. Its distinction aids Nestle Berhad in establishing confidence and trust among nation consumers.
Hey guys, my name is Haikal Harit. So today I'm going to be present 5.0, which is the financial analysis for Nestle Malaysia Berhad, which is from year 2020 until 2022. So I do this table and we have 5 each ratio. First one we have liquidity, activity, debt, profitability, and market. So I'm going to do interpretation of this financial analysis, which use a time series analysis. So for the first one is current ratio. You can see that it's increased 0.59 to 0.71 from 2020 to 2022, which indicates that Nestle currently has better ability to pay off short-term obligation, which means the current ratio is measure a company ability to cover its short-term liability with its short-term asset. So several factors that increase its financial reserve, improve receivable management, or a reduction in the current commitments will have contributed to this growth. So next is quick ratio. So it decreased 0.27 to 0.2. So shows that it doesn't have enough assets to cover the short-term obligation, which means it has more current liabilities than the current asset, because for quick ratio we have to minus with the inventory. Then next is cash ratio for Nestle company. So it also decreased 0.0052 to 0.36. It means that a serious shortage of liquidity, because there only a few cents in cash, and it's equivalent for every RM1 in the current. Okay, next we move on to inventory turnover. You can see that it's declined from almost 6 times to 4.13 times. Shows that slowing managing the inventory, which causes potential inefficiency, overstocking, or sluggish sales. It shows that the cost of goods sold are higher than inventory, which can decline the inventory turnover. So next is day sales in inventory. It increased 63 days to 88 days, which indicates that this company has excess inventory, which causes weak sales for year 2021 and 2022, which means their inventory turnover much lower than before, causing more inventory or keep more increasing and not selling that fast. Next, we move on to capital intensity. It remains the same ratio, which reflects the company's stable operational performance and asset utilization, which is at 0.53 and slightly decreased 0.52 in year 2021 and increased the same 0.53. And then for total asset turnover, overall remain constant over 3 years, means that executing consistent asset management methods and operational effective in revenue output, which means their sales is more higher and then more effectiveness. So next is total debt ratio. it increased 0.81 to 0.82 for 3 years, which is showing a stronger dependency on debt and therefore greater financial risk than in 2021. So next, we have debt equity ratio. So significantly, it increased from 4.14 to 4.67. It means the company has higher level of financial risk because they have more debt than their equity during 2020 until 2022. Next, we move on to equity multiplier. You can see that it's also increased to 5.67 during year 22, which they use more leverage and they might having rely on more debt financing. And also now we look at the gross profit margin. They dropping year to year from 36.32% to 30.92%, which means the company is undergoing decreased gross profit. It means that their gross profit is lesser than their sales. And then for operating profit margin for Nestle company, it slightly dropped from 13.97% to 13.55%. That means Nestle is having a stable operating revenue. And then we're going to look at ROE, which is return on equity. It's also decreased 99 to 21% in 2020 and to 97.79%. And during 2022, it increased back to 99.04%. It means that it highlighted its effective use of shareholder to generate profit and also increase their shareholder value. And then for price earning ratio, you see that it's decreased from 57.33 to 50.98. It means that the investor willing to pay for company earning falls so that they can get more earnings. And then for price sales ratio, you can see that the investor also willing to pay each dollar of sales that are decreasing from 5.86 to 5.9, 5.8, then eventually drop 4.75 even though they are willing to pay for this. And then last but not least, we have market to book ratio. So despite the decreases from 2020 to 2022, which is 56.85 until 50.6, this fluctuation in the NB ratio, which is the market pool, is most likely reflecting shifting investor sentiment and more complex business valuation because it connected with the stock market. So they need to really think about it. So that's all for me. So I'm gonna pass it to Lukman.
Hello and greetings to Dr. Kwan. My name is Lukman Hakim Burhanuddin and my ID is 122130330 and I am from Group 10. I will explain regarding comparison with competitors and industry benchmark with its key finding and insight. We will analyze into 5 ratio, which is liquidity, debt, activity, profitability and market ratio. The industry ratio are calculated by summing up the ratio of all the 3 companies and dividing it by the total number of the companies. For the current ratio, Nationally and FNN surpass Nestle in terms of liquidity, with FNN having the highest liquidity among the 3 companies. For the quick ratio, Nationally and FNN outperform Nestle in terms of liquidity, with FNN having the highest level of liquidity among the 3 companies. For the cash ratio, Nationally and FNN significantly outperform Nestle in terms of liquidity, with FNN having the largest cash reserve among the 3 companies. For the inventory turnover, Nationally, Nestle and FNN all had higher turnover rate, with Nationally having the highest. For the days sale in turnover, Nationally performed better than Nestle in terms of inventory turnover efficiency, while FNN had a longer inventory turnover cycle compared to both its rival and the industry average. For the capital intensity, Nestle had a significantly lower capital intensity than both of its competitors and the industry average. FNN had the highest capital intensity ratio among the companies. For the total asset turnover, Nestle demonstrated the most efficient use of asset, while FNN had the least efficient asset utilization. For the total debt ratio, FNN had exhibit the lowest total debt ratio, while Nestle had the highest, indicating a varying degree of debt reliance. For the debt equity ratio, Nestle exhibit a higher degree of leverage, while FNN had the lowest debt to equity ratio, suggesting a conservative financial approach. For the equity multiplier, Nestle had a higher degree of financial leverage, while FNN maintained a conservative financial stance with the lowest equity multiplier ratio. For the gross profit margin, Nestle outperformed its competitor with the highest gross profit margin, reflecting its effective gross profit generation from revenue. For the operating profit margin, Nestle had the highest operating profit margin, signifying relatively strong operational profitability, while Nationally had the lowest operating profit margin. For the return on equity, among the 3 companies, Nationally had the lowest ROE, while Nestle had the highest, demonstrating a substantial earning for its shareholder. For the price earning ratio, Nestle had the highest price earning ratio this year, suggesting that investors had relatively high expectation for its future earning growth compared to its peer and industry average. For the price to sales ratio, Nestle had the highest price to sales ratio, suggesting a premium valuation compared to its competitors and the industry average. For the market to book ratio, Nestle had the highest market to book ratio, indicating a significant market premium compared to its competitors and the industry average. Next, we go to the strength of the Nestle Malaysia Berhad. First, we have this. First is the strong liquidity. Second is the efficient inventory management with uh, with the DSI of 88.38 days compared to industry average and a comparatively low inventory turnover ratio of 4.13. This suggests effective inventory control, avoiding unnecessary holding expenses. Next is stable operating profit margin, and lastly, high return on equity. And then we go to the weakness. First, we have high debt level. Second, increase of leverage. Third is declining profit margin, and lastly, market valuation.
Next, I'll be talking the recommendation part. So when it comes to recommendation, we thought that the Nestle actually is have a low cash coverage ratio and it has a weak ability in collecting receivables. This is because when you compare the all the financial ratios compared to the industry average, actually it shows a very low the value, and also in fact the data are more concerned about a company's current liquid in order to make the trading. So to accommodate the Nestle should manage and improve their cash flow efficiently by well managing the account receivables and account payables through the initiatives. So the cash flow of the company could be improved efficiently, but actually how to do it? So in order to improve it, the Nestle should providing a more discount and variety of payment method for account receivables for them to make their payment in a shorter period of time. For the account payable, like negotiating with the account payables parties and make all the payments on time by the given period of time. And so when doing all this, it can bridge a trust and the positive relationship between us and them. When it comes to the second problem, which is the Nestle is having an extremely high financial leverage, the high figures indicates that there is a high risk to be taken into consideration by the investor when they would like to make investment in the Nestle company. Definitely, the investors demands a low risk that can getting a return, a stable return when they make the investment. So to do that, the Nestle company should issuing more capital more than the debt borrowing. Another way to increase the funds, the capital, actually can be done by increasing the sales. When the sales is increased, obviously the company can get a higher profit and higher revenue. The higher funds can pay off all the liabilities when it comes to financial management decisions. So the prime objective is obviously to maximize the shareholders' wealth by maximizing the stock price. But how to do that? Actually, the financial manager and the financial management, they can implement many initiatives in terms of capital budgeting, capital structure, and also working capital management. But how to do that? So they need to decide on how the amounts they are going to for investment purpose, for day-to-day operation purpose, for return purposes also. So they need to minimize the cost, they need to minimize the funds need to be utilized so to maximize the performance and having more cash and banks on their hand. And also they need to decide the which investment on the project can bring the largest return and can generate more profit or revenue when they invest in one particular project. And next, I was talking about the conclusion part, which is recap of finance recommendations, also important on financial analysis. To be concise, so Nestle company is actually is having a great performance in maintaining the operating profit margin, the high return on equity, which is ROE, and one more is inventory management. Both three is actually quite high when comparing to other companies and also the industry average. Yeah, disadvantage like the high extremely high financial leverage and also the big ability in collecting the receivables. So when it comes to financial analysis, it is very important in evaluating and identifying the company's financial and economic performance and profitability. By calculating all the ratios, by looking through all the information provided, actually we can identify and compare which company is can return or get a stable return. So we need to make decision about that. So this is one of the uses of the financial analysis. The second is to set effective financial politics. So from a manager perspective, obviously you need to focus on the primary objective, which is maximize the stock price and maximize the shareholders wealth. So they need to adjust and make some changes based on the financial analysis. So this is the outcome from grade 10. That's all from me. Thank you, Dr. Grant.